All right, peace, Tamia. I hope you're doing wonderful today. And yes, welcome to the first session of your energetic signature breakdown. So, today we are going to be discussing and covering the houses. We're going to begin with the first session by covering the first through the sixth house. And then within the next session, we will cover the seventh to the 12th house, and then we'll get into the planets. And then once we've covered the planets, we'll discuss the aspects. Then later we'll talk more about your asteroids, your south and north node, and things like that, you know. So we're going to start by talking about the most important things, and then we'll get into like the less important things in a sense. So first thing first, right? You have your first house cusp within the sign Gemini. And so what this all means is that the energy that governs your personal life is very mercurial, specifically very mercurial to the Geminian energy, right? And so both Virgo and Gemini are mercurial energies, but Gemini is the masculine and more extroverted electrical expression of Mercury. Now, when we are talking about the first house, to get into exactly what it means, right? The first house is the house of the personal life. It deals with all personal issues and personal affairs, right? And this can even be health, because the thing with health, although the sixth house governs health as well, the first house governs health in the sense that health is a very personal thing. You feel what I'm saying? It also governs like the physical body. It governs one's natural aptitude and like just in general personality. And so for you, that energy is within the mercurial energy, the masculine expression of Mercury. And so first and foremost, it indicates that you in of yourself, when it comes to your personality, in a sense, you're very bubbly, very free flowing, to an extent probably flirtatious and playful, like when we think of the Gemini energy, it's kind of like a child at heart, you feel what I'm saying? And even with the flirtatious aspect of the Gemini energy, it's never intentional. It's typically like just all play, but then like, when things start to get heavy and serious, then Gemini is very fleeting. You feel me? So Geminis like to, test the water. They like to have fun. They like to enjoy things. But then when things become too heavy for them, they may kind of be uncertain or fleeting. You feel what I'm saying? Is the best word to use here. So in regards to your personality, right? It's very much anchored within like the air element as well. And so when we are talking of Gemini, Gemini is an air sign, but to extend it, Gemini belongs to the first emanation of the air signs. What this means is the energy of Gemini was like the first to come into existence. You feel me? In the sense that there is an order of things, a sequence of things, just as we have numbers, right? 1 through 9. The signs themselves came into manifestation by a sequence, and Gemini was the first expression of the air element. And so Gemini is the thought, right? Gemini rules thoughts. It's I think. And see, the thing with the air signs, according to the emanation, it goes Gemini, Libra, and then Aquarius. Being the first degree of emanation, Gemini is very concerned with its own internal inclinations. They're very much guided, you know what I'm saying, by their like own thoughts, what they feel and what they think. And the same goes with Aries as well. So you having that correlation or combination of Aries and Gemini energy, it makes you a very first degree emanation individual, meaning Aries is a pioneer, right? Because Aries is like a cardinal sign, and that's another story though. Gemini is more of like a developer. You feel me? Like, because it's a mutable sign, and the mutable signs kind of enjoy developing and bringing things into perfection. And with that being said, Gemini very much is a sign that deals with perfection. They kind of have a idealistic perspective on things, and they want things to be in a certain way. You feel me? But furthermore, with you having this Gemini energy, thoughts are very prominent and very powerful, especially where your personal life is concerned. And so it's interesting because you have your third house, right, which is the house that's naturally ruled by Gemini within the sign Leo. And with your third house being within the sign Leo, right, and Leo being the sign of the king or the queen, right, in this case, it deals a lot with willpower. You feel me? It deals a lot with demanding and it deals a lot with like demanding and commanding, controlling and things like that. And with you having the third house, which is the house that deals with thoughts, deals with thinking, and it deals with the immediate environment within the sign Leo, this alone makes like your thoughts and the way that you think very, very powerful in regards to the way that it influences your life, your willpower, and also your life, your willpower, and also the way that like you see yourself from a personal perspective. And I hope that makes sense. So with all that being said, the beauty of having like the first house within a first degree sign is that personally you are a very so as I was saying, with you having like your first house within a first degree sign, it is very good because what it does is it contributes to like your own personal will, in the sense that where your personal life and your personality is concerned, it's very self-driven and self-centered, right? And within certain things, it's important to be concentrated, especially within your personality. But primarily the way that your personality expresses is through the mind, through thoughts, through rationality, through logic, and things like that. Gemini is rather a intangible sign, you feel me, because it's an air sign. And Gemini very much enjoys to like daydream, you can even say, to ponder on things, to rationalize things. And at times, because of this, you may find yourself mistaking continuous thought for action. To an extent, because you do have like your sun in Aries, right? And Aries is the sign of activity, and we'll get more into that when we get into it. But for the most part though, with the Gemini energy, there can be this tendency of like overthinking things, and so rather than acting on something, kind of over pondering, and you feel what I'm saying. But yeah, for the most part, I would say that pretty much concludes like the Geminian energy. And to further get into like the more practical aspects of the Gemini energy, Gemini, its strength is in its adaptability, right? You are very adaptable and very flexible, right? As mutable air, Gemini is like liquid air. You feel what I'm saying? Liquid air, so it's very movable and adaptable. And so air is like the mind and thoughts and logic. So in a way, you have like this ability to adapt and like chameleonize to any way of thinking or any way of thought. You feel what I'm saying? Very changeable and very adaptable energy. The beauty also is that these signs are pretty persistent as well, pretty persistent and pretty firm. Like with your moon being in Scorpio, and Scorpio being a fixed sign, like your determination and your durability mostly comes from that moon in Scorpio. And when I say durability, an ability to like withstand in the face of adversity type energy. But Gemini kind of is that sign that helps you be a little bit more creative, you feel what I'm saying, as you move through, let's say, something that is of difficulty. It kind of helps you navigate more differently. And I think it's really cool, right? Because you have the three modalities. So the modalities are cardinal, fixed, and mutable. Cardinal is gas, right? The state of matter that's gas. Mutable is liquid, and then fixed is solid, right? So your sun is in a gaseous element or a gaseous sign, right? That's Aries. Then your moon is in a solid sign, that's Scorpio, and then your ascendant is in a liquid sign, and that's Gemini. So I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but I did kind of get a little bit excited about this because I think it's so cool for you. And when you truly learn what it means and how to employ it, in a sense, you like, man, this is crazy. Like all three signs are very powerful signs. What I'm saying, like Aries and Scorpio, these two signs deal with Mars, and Mars is the planet of energy. So Mars supplies you that energy. The moon is like the feminine. The moon in Scorpio is the feminine expression of Mars. The sun is the masculine expression of Mars. And then Gemini helps you, in a sense, synthesize and put logic and rationality into all that energy that Aries and Scorpio gives you. You also have your Mars in the sign Virgo, and like I said, I'm getting ahead of myself. I kind of got excited about your energies, but I should most definitely focus so I can get this session done for you, because I do have an hour, so I do need to be focused. Anyways, as I was saying though, for the most part, that's pretty much it with like the Scorpio energy. And when we talk about Mercury, I'll go back to talking about Gemini again, your first house in Gemini again, because Mercury is your first house ruler. So when I talk about Mercury, I'll have a little bit more to say about your first house in Gemini. But yeah, ultimately to conclude, with you having Gemini in the first house, it indicates that your chart ruler is one of your chart rulers, rather I should say, is Mercury. You feel what I'm saying? Mercury has a great influence upon your life, and the experiences that you go through on life deal a lot with the development of your mind, the development of logic and rationality. And to conclude, I keep saying to conclude, but there's always more to say, you feel me? But this is for real conclusion. So essentially, your ascendant falls into the last degrees of the Gemini sign. So to get more specific, this is the Aquarius decan of Gemini. And this is the decan of reason. And within the constellation, right? Because Gemini is a huge constellation, right? But then inside of Gemini, there are miniature constellations, specifically three main constellations. And according to which of the 10 days, because in a month, essentially, there's roughly around 30 days, or for every single sign, there's 30 days, right? So if you're born in the first 10 days, it's a different energy of that sign from the middle 10 days to the last 10 days. So your ascendant is in the um last degrees. We're not talking about days because um the ascendant moves in hours. I always hesitate because I don't want to be too practical, so that's the last practical term or statement I'll make. But anyways, with the deacon of reason, which is what this deacon is called, this is the deacon that is signified within the stars by Ursa Major, or also known as like the Big Dipper. You feel what I'm saying? And in certain other traditions and cultures, it's recognized as a bird. You feel what I'm saying? But anyways, with you having your ascendant within this deacon, this is the deacon. My son is in this deacon, right? So I know a lot about all the deacons, but this one I kind of specialize because it's my own deacon. This is the deacon that deals mostly with the power of thoughts. See, Ursa Major means the bigger bear, right? The Big Dipper, the bigger bear. The reason why Ursa Major was depicted, well, the reason why this deacon of Gemini was depicted by a big bear is to signify the tremendous amount of power that can come from mental effort, right? So for you, the more you can develop your mind, the more you can develop your ability to, flow, allow energies to flow, the better. When I say allow energies to flow, that's what the mind is. It directs energy. It's kind of like a small little electrician, right? Who goes to this huge building and uses a tiny panel to influence and alter the immense amount of energies that flow into that building. That's very much what the mind is. So the mind and its ability is very powerful, for what I'm saying. And for you, that's what you need to get into. You need to learn how to develop your thoughts, your mental abilities. You need to learn more about thought structures, thought forms, how to create thought forms and thought structures, and understand like things like desire, things like desire, you feel what I'm saying? Things like pain and pleasure and how that contributes to the mind, and things like reproductive desires and nutritive desires, because essentially within the existence of all things, everything is composed of nutritive desires and reproductive desires. You feel what I'm saying? Just as like we have within an atom, the idea of an atom, right? A neutron and an electron, and then a proton. The same goes with. I don't want to get too deep. You feel me? Because everything I'm saying right now, this is what you would be gaining later, after we get done with your energetic reading and you have greater understanding of your own energy. Then we start getting into thought through esoteric psychology and mental alchemy, and you start learning how to alter and change your energies as depicted. So I'm kind of skipping forward and I should get back into the present moment. But yeah, those are things that you should most definitely tap into and gain better awareness of. The more you gain better awareness of those things, the more your life in of itself will improve. Now, the next thing up for discussion is your second house. The second house, it is the house of valuable possessions. It is the house of things like money, things and just things like possessions in general. So this house is very interesting. So I'm gonna talk about the wealth houses real quick. The second house, the sixth house, and the 10th house are all houses considered to be wealth houses. Now, the second house is, in a sense, the custodian of the wealth you accumulate. It, in a sense, just helps you understand your thought patterns revolving around your valued possessions, personal possessions, things like money, things like the stuff that you have in general. You feel me? And the sixth house is the house that deals with labor, it deals with work, it deals with employers, employers. It deals also with illness. It ultimately, illness and health, it ultimately deals with anything and everything that contributes or hinders the generation of money. So, labor, things that generate money to you, work, you feel what I'm saying? Employees, servants, anything that can bring to you money or possession or value is the sixth house, you feel me? But then the 10th house is the house of one's reputation. You feel me? The 10th house deals with one's status, one's career, one's business front in a sense. Like, let's say you are an employee. I mean, you're an employer. Employer. Yeah, employee, I meant to say. Now, being an employee, the company that you work at, that's the 10th house energy. You feel what I'm saying? Or if you are your own company, then that's your 10th house. The 10th house in general just rules the public image, reputation, one's status, things like that. You feel me? Yeah, so these are all the wealth houses. And now I'm glad you have an understanding of the wealth houses. So as far as your second house is concerned, your second house is within the sign Cancer. Now, Cancer is a sign that deals very much with comfortability, security, and I kind of want to say it's funny. It can deal with insecurity, but it more deals with security. You feel me? And so the thing with Cancer is it's ruled by the moon, right? That's the first thing of importance to understand. And as far as the moon is concerned, in one word, the moon can be explained through the word fluctuation, right? The moon fluctuates through its many different phases, right? Flux, change. The moon manifests through the waves and the up and down nature of the waves, right? And the moon, give me a second. As I was saying, before I had to go handle some things real quick. This is like 3 hours later. Anyways, I was stating and I was talking about your second house, which is in the sign Cancer, right? So the second house, right, being in the sign Cancer, first and foremost, where valuable possessions are concerned, there is a lot of emotions associated and tied with those things. You feel me? And this is like, it can even equate to like, sentimental value, like appreciating certain things that you have, possibly because of the way that you got it or the history associated with it. You feel me? Like Cancer is a sign, it's very emotional, right? Very sentimental and all those things. Furthermore, Cancer is a sign that deals with nourishment, like within the human body, right? Cancer rules like the breasts, right? And the breasts, they're like the seat of nourishment. You feel me? Like babies are nourished from the breasts. And so I'm sorry, I can't keep a straight face. I can't just never mind. Never mind. Let me stay focused. But yeah, so that's saying that that's cancer. You feel what I'm saying? And just understanding what cancer rules in the body kind of gives you a better understanding of its energy. Now, the key phrase for cancer is I care. You feel me? And in a sense, cancer manifests caring energy where valuable possessions are concerned. And so this can even express in a manner of you having a strong, like, emotional pull and desire where, like, the accumulation of things are concerned, specifically money and everything like that. So, there are many different types of people, and some people, like, their approach on money, it can even be like on a perspective of not even thinking about it and leaving it to a higher power. You feel me? And that's kind of like Sagittarius, Pisces energy. Or there can be other people who kind of have all these grandiose thoughts about money, but it's very intangible. You feel what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. But where the Cancerian energy is concerned, see, Cancer is a cardinal sign, right? So Aries is the first gaseous sign, then Cancer is the second gaseous / cardinal sign. So Cancer generates tremendous amounts of emotions, especially emotions, where, yeah, actually I said it correctly. Well, with the second house, it's like, especially emotions where money is concerned. So on one end, because Cancer is ruled by the moon and the moon deals with fluctuation, there may be somewhat of a fluctuative energy that manifests where your finances are concerned. There may be certain times, like, money just may seem like it goes up and down, possibly, you feel me, with this Cancerian energy. But at the end of the day, what needs to be understood is that although one of Cancer's key phrases is I care, its primary key phrase is I feel, right? It's the first water sign. And so the closest thing to our inner realm is our feelings and our emotions. So to sum this energy up, essentially, where your values and your possessions are concerned, right, there's a lot of feelings that are entangled into it. You feel what I'm saying? Like caring a lot, for example, about your money and about things about like your valued possessions even. But furthermore, right, because the second house, it just deals with values in general. So this can even be things that you value within yourself that are intangible. So this can even be like certain attributes and qualities about you that you have, right? So you may find yourself tremendously caring about those values and possessions, like those values and attributes and qualities. But furthermore, certain values and attributes and qualities that you may hold may be very, like, Cancerian. You may tremendously appreciate, like, your caring nature, we can say, or when someone cares for you, like, that may be something that you tremendously appreciate and love. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that you value, rather, I should say. So anytime, because Cancer is like motherly energy, so anytime someone is like providing you motherly energy, it may be something you may appreciate. But furthermore, because the second house is the house that deals with personal resources, one of your personal resource and ability may be this ability to make people feel comfortable, right? And this energy and ability to, like, render caring energy to people and everything like that. But ultimately, to sum it up, where money is concerned and just physical possessions, personal possessions in general, there also may be a need to regulate one's emotions, because, like I said earlier, the moon, right, deals with fluctuation. And so the moon sign, Cancer, is also very flexy, very moody. So it's important to pay attention to the emotions and the moods, you feel me, and to make sure that like you're not feeding certain emotions revolving around personal possessions and money negatively. You feel what I'm saying? But rather kind of being aware of and keeping tabs on making sure that you are providing to your second house the highest grade of emotions. Like that's the best way to think about it. The houses are like compartments. They're like buckets, you can even say, like containers of energy, right? And the second house is the energy, the container that contains the energy of like wealth. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. And so, yeah, I think what's next to discuss is, um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the third house. Now to talk about the second house. Let's talk about the third house. So your third house is within the sign Leo. So I briefly talked about the third house earlier, and so that's like how my hair is. My bad. Anyways, as I was saying, the third house, you feel me? It's a house that deals a lot with one's thought patterns, one's immediate environment physically, but simultaneously one's internal environment and those thoughts that are immediate. You feel what I'm saying? In the sense that the third house is the house that is naturally ruled by Gemini. And Gemini is the sign of thoughts. Its key phrase is I think, and it rules over thoughts in general. So where the third house is involved, it deals with the mental environment. You feel what I'm saying? But furthermore, the third house also deals with the immediate environment, your surrounding environment. You feel what I'm saying? And it also deals with like your siblings and those people that you are like the closest, immediate connection to. I hope that makes sense. You feel me? It deals with people around you. Because it's the house of ideas, in a sense, where ideas are concerned, people are very influential, right? So that's why it also deals with like your siblings, because it's also the house of communication. And your siblings were like those first associations, if you have siblings, that is, right? Who you're able to engage with and interact ideas, and they kind of helped you develop your mind and your logic and your train of thoughts, but also schoolmates. You feel what I'm saying? So first and foremost, with Leo being within the third house, this can be an indication of like great amounts of dominance, because the thing about the Leo energy is very domineering, especially when we combine Leo and Aries. because the third house is in Leo, that automatically means that your third house ruler is the sun, and the sun is in Aries. So both the sun and the third house are in combination with each other, to bring forth this third house energy. So within your third house, right, first and foremost, talking about the immediate environment, this can be an indication that typically within your immediate environment, I'll talk about the surface things, and then I'm gonna look at your chart as well, so I can go a little deeper. So the third house, right, it deals with the immediate environment, and with Leo being here, Leo is kind of somewhat of a prestige, like royal, right, type energy. So it can be an indication that there have always been this sort of like, how like in the tarot, there's like this sun card. Like I would really associate like the environment with that card. You feel what I'm saying? Like they're kind of being somewhat of a light, vibrant type energy, like something always going on. Very active energies as well. You feel me? Very like, yeah, just very active energy, because it's fire. And this can even be like certain things that may be beautiful and things that may catch attention. You feel me? So it's interesting because, yeah, you know what? Let me pull up your chart real quick. Like, Gemini is somewhat of a messy sign, don't get me wrong, like, but you have your Mars in Virgo, which probably can incline towards making you more of a person who likes organization and strives to organize things. And if I'm not mistaken, you also have Mars in your third house in the sign Gemini. I mean, in the sign Virgo. Yeah, you do. My apologies. Give me a second as I pull this up. So, yeah, for the most part, with the third house being in Leo, that's one of the things it can indicate, like, a very bright setting of an environment, like, in a sense, things kind of always going on. And there can even be this energy of like a continuous, either a continuous like competition between one's own identity versus what one can identify around them. Or it can even be that a lot of the times the environments you find yourself within are like great reflections of your own energy. You feel me? Because Leo deals with like the identity and things like that. Okay, so yeah, no, you have Mars in the fourth house. It's a whole other energy. But yeah, I think that's like pretty good, a good enough explanation of your third house, which is in Leo. Now I do also have to get into like the mind, right? Because third house rules the mind as well. So where the immediate environment, I mean where immediate thoughts are concerned, it's very much inclined towards like one's willpower, um, sort of a manner of thought and thinking that deals with will I do this? I want, like, it's a very ambitious way of thinking as well. And it's this, and like the interesting thing about Leo and Virgo is because they're so close, both of them are very perfection oriented, you feel what I'm saying? And with Leo, because it's very ambitious, like there can be these continuous ideologies and thoughts of wanting to, in a sense, make oneself into something, wanting to properly use one's willpower to accomplish and acquire something worthwhile. Like with the Aries energy, Aries is it's like the number one, it's the first sign. And Aries very much like to be winners, conquerors, and leaders. So even mentally, you may have this way of thinking and way of thought that deals with how can I get to like the next level? How can I utilize my willpower to accomplish and attain things? And so, like with you having third house in Leo, in a fire sign in general, like there would be of tremendous benefit for you to like, write goals and because when you write goals and you turn those goals into affirmations, then you start to make your way of thinking less random and more constructive and more directed. You feel me? And Leo is a sign that deals with focus because it's a fixed sign. So you may have a tendency of being fixated in your thoughts. You feel what I'm saying? Fixated in your thoughts, and what I mean by that is, okay. Yeah, and what I mean by fixated in your thoughts is like having tunnel vision and having a powerful ability to stick to a thought pattern. But the cool thing about the fire signs is they deal with visions, right? So a lot of the way that you think may be accompanied by mental movies, mental imagery, mental visions, and things like that. So ultimately, alongside, adapting a practice of setting goals and turning those goals into affirmations, or having goals and then having affirmations that are associated with those goals, you would probably also benefit from practicing visualization, and bringing those thoughts alive through a visual mechanism. Okay, now the fourth house. So the fourth house is a house, it's a companionship house, you feel what I'm saying? And it's also a private house. It's a companionship house, it's a private house, and it belongs to the psychic trinity of houses, you feel me? So the 3 houses we just talked about, they're all personal houses, you feel me? And they very much deal with personal things like personality, your personal possessions, your personal thoughts. Now the 4th house more deals with your companionship within your home life. The 4th house is naturally connected to the Cancerian energy, and this house, it very much deals with how it is that like you grew up, like the conditions, like the environment. And because it's like that, the 4th house, and it deals with which energy dominates the house, like it's associated with the father, you feel me? Because a lot of the times it's like the fathers that run the house, even though like the mother, she's there as well. It's interesting because some people correlate the 4th house with the mother, but I think like you can do both and gain a lot of information. But typically like the 4th house is the house of the father, and then the 10th house is the house of the mother. The 10th house, it's a house that deals with reputation and things like that. And ultimately, it's just the fact that in life, when we grow up, typically what we end up carrying with us and everything like that, it's more like our mother's mind. You can say our mother's emotions and our father's thoughts, you feel me? But it's like because we are more around our mother, we kind of adapt her train of thinking more than we adapt our father's train of thinking. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, that's what the 4th house is, you feel me? It's a house that deals with family, the home environment, even till this day, like what your home looks like and things like that can be deciphered and understood from your 4th house. So first and foremost, your 4th house is also within the sign of Leo, you feel me? So you have both the 3rd house and the 4th house within the sign Leo. So with your 4th house being within the sign of Leo, the cusp of Leo, right? The same energy that manifests within your 3rd house manifests within your 4th house. So Leo, positively, its greatest attribute and strength is that it is a sign that very much deals with kindness, right? Leo rules the heart, for example, but its weakness is that Leo is very domineering. They can like to dominate things and be like in control of things and things like that. And that reminds me, I also want to touch a little bit more on Cancer, because I didn't talk about Cancer's strengths and weaknesses. So Cancer's strength is in its tenacity, meaning its ability to endure many different things, right? It can persist and persevere no matter the circumstance and situation. And that's where your 2nd house is. But then Cancer's weakness is in its touchiness, right? It's very sensitive, very touchy. Feel me? But back to the 4th house. So first things first, right? With you having the 4th house within the sign Leo, it indicates that growing up within the childhood environment, there may have been this energy of even high expectations bestowed upon you. Because like I said earlier, Leo is very much, it's like pride, you feel me? It's like the lion, you feel me? So there may have been this energy possibly of your father maybe wanting to instill certain principles and attributes and qualities within you, possibly, you feel me? Or just in general, like your not immediate, but your family environment may have dealt a lot with your identity and what it is that, from a family perspective, you were in a sense expected to identify with or as. You feel what I'm saying? So it's not as powerful as if you had your sun in Leo, but typically with the Leo energy, when it comes to the upbringing, Leo is very much masculine. Aries is also masculine, so typically they're both more so dominated by their fathers than their mothers. Like their father is more of an influence within their life than their mother. But with you having the Scorpio energy, also, there's an indication here that your mother was also a great influence on your life. They may not have been like the best influence. Like Scorpio is a sign that deals with troublesomeness. It can even deal with like addictions, you feel what I'm saying? And it deals with death as well, and absence, right? So there's a possibility that your mother may have been of great influence upon your life, even if it was because she wasn't there, and that may have tremendously impacted you. Or it can be on the whole other plane of her being in your life, and maybe her continuously wanting to control you, because Scorpio is a sign of control. We'll get more into Scorpio later, though, you feel me? But yeah, you feel me? So pretty much that's like the sun in Leo. For the most part, because Leo is a masculine and positive sign, it is also an indication that there may have been certain joys that may have been manifested as a result of the home life. Like there may have been a couple of noteworthy moments of happiness and just joy, because like Leo is not only the sign of joy, but it's like the sign of fun, it's a sign of entertainment and things like that. But simultaneously, because you also have Mars within the 4th house, this can be an indication that, and it's retrograde, it can be an indication that although on a surface level with like the Leo energy and everything like that, because Mars is also there, the home life may have been rather a challenge, an obstacle, and rather an unfamiliar energy as well, because you also have your North Node within the sign Cancer. And with your North Node being within the sign Cancer, what this means and what this indicates is that in this lifetime, family, right, your experiences with family, your experiences with your home life, your experience with your lineage, because Cancer, the 4th house, rather, I should say, is very much a house that not only deals with your physical family, but it deals with like your lineage as well. It's in a sense like your roots, you know what I'm saying? Like all those experiences are very contributive to your spiritual growth, and evolution, you feel what I'm saying? Because that's very much what the North Node deals with, you feel what I'm saying? You have your North Node within the 4th house as well. So if you have your Mars within the 4th house, Mars is the planet that deals with overcoming of things. It deals with obstacles and challenges. And it brings you hardships, trials, and tribulations. But it also, because you're a Scorpio in general, well, I meant to say you're an Aries, but you are also a Scorpio. But because you're an Aries in general, you kind of have a good understanding of the Martian energy. Because Mars is not like Saturn, where Saturn kind of just bestows restrictions and obstacles in your way, but because it's like tough love, you feel what I'm saying? And it's like throwing you in the water, and it's like learn to swim or you will sink. Mars is more so like, it's like all about striving, all about overcoming challenges. It doesn't stop until it's at the top, we can even say, you feel me? So with you having that like Mars and the 4th house, it's an indication that one aspect of life that you must triumph over and learn to build on, and in a sense use constructively, is familial dynamics and things like that. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of like trapped energy there. What I'm saying. Yeah, there's a lot of like trapped energy there. Trapped energy, that's Martian, right? So Martian, like I said, it's very well. Mars is a planet that, in general, just deals with energy. So you have a bunch of emotional energy at your disposal, a lot of psychic energy at your disposal, because Mars is like the planet of energy, and then the fourth house is one of the three psychic houses, so it deals with psychic energies as well. And with this psychic energy, it may mostly express through emotions, dealing with the home life and experiences that you may have had it growing up. And that energy very much is so entangled with you fulfilling your fullest identity. It's like your greatest identity. It's like once you learn to release that energy and learn to allow yourself to express that energy harmoniously, that Martian energy harmoniously, then it's like you start to unlock certain attributes of your identity more efficiently. We'll talk more about Mars later, though, for sure. But yeah, it's pretty much like the fourth house. With the fourth house being within the sign Leo, and then with your sun being ruled, not being ruled, but being within the 11th house. This also can be an indication, possibly, that you may not so much have been like familiarly close with your immediate family, but you may have found family within strangers, family within your network, family within your social circle, and you may have made friends who were distant. I mean, you may have made family with people that weren't immediate to you, people that you may have just run into. I hope that makes sense, if what I'm saying. And we'll get more into that as well. I'm kind of future pacing by looking into like the planets right now. You feel me? But yeah, so that's like your fourth house. Now to get into your fifth house. So your fifth house. Your fifth house is within the sign of Libra. Yeah, your fifth house is within the sign of Libra. So you have both Virgo and Pisces introcepted within your chart. What that means is that the energies of Virgo and the energies of Pisces are kind of like stuck. Like they don't really have a channel to express themselves. Like they're kind of overtaken by other energies that are more powerful. Like in this case, Leo and Libra kind of suffocate that Virgo energy. And I'll get more into what an introcepted sign means. That's in a nutshell what it means. It means that energy doesn't have a channel to express itself through, so it kind of finds difficulty expressing its energy. And again, that's Virgo and Pisces. And we'll get more into what Virgo and Pisces means. So Virgo is the sign that deals with practicality. It deals with like tangible things. It deals with learning how to take what is a thought and turn that thought into a plan. Turn what was once in the mind into that which you can hold in your hand. You feel what I'm saying? So it's very much the Virgo energy. Virgo also deals a lot with herbalism, interestingly enough, because you're taking an herbal class. It deals with medicine, you feel me? But I mean, the thing is, like, Gemini and Virgo are both ruled by Mercury. So Gemini in a sense is to an extent connected with medicine as well. But Scorpio is more connected with medicine, and I think we talked about that previously. But yeah, anyways, the fifth house. So the fifth house, it's a house that deals with one's creativity, how one expresses oneself creatively, if what I'm saying. The fifth house is also the sign that's naturally ruled by Leo. And Leo is a sign that deals with like sexuality, promiscuity, having fun, things like that. And so the fifth house is a house that also deals with one's like sex life, one's dating life. It also deals with entertainment, and it also deals with offsprings, right? Because sex and offsprings kind of go hand in hand. So, but the thing is, like the fifth house, beyond just offsprings, dealing with children physically and literally, it can even be like offsprings of the mind. You feel me? Like children of the mind, or creating a dope art piece. You feel me? And that being one of your creations, one of your reproductions, reproducing of your own energy, right? So the fifth house in general is the energy of sexual, and it's like sexual energy and how it expresses. You feel what I'm saying? So first and foremost, with you having your fifth house within the sign Libra, with you having your fifth house within the sign Libra, it indicates that where sexuality and things like that are concerned, there's kind of a equilibrium and a balance that's there, or that you may need to bring to that energy. You feel me? It may either be that you've already learned to attain great balance within the expression of your sexual energy and the channeling of your sexual energy into more creative channels, or it can be an indication that there is an imbalance where sexual energy is concerned, and you may need to learn to find more balance and find more equilibrium in that energy, in that space. You feel what I'm saying? But furthermore, Libra is a sign that deals with partnerships, relationships, and lovers. So this can be an indication even that you are a type of individual where sexual expression may be concerned. You may, and especially with the moon and Scorpio energy as well, you may be a type of person who may not be too so into like one night stands and things like that, because there may be this desire for companionship at the end, or with the moon and Scorpio energy, there may be too much of an emotional connection and an emotional intensity there. You feel what I'm saying? And so with the fifth house being within the sign Libra, that's the first thing to consider. Like, you may enjoy more being in a relationship with someone and then entangling sexually with that individual. But this is kind of difficult energy for me to speak upon, because like, we can just look at your chart simultaneously. Yeah, I'm gonna stand on what I was saying though. But the reason it can be difficult is because, see, Aries is like, both Aries and Scorpio are ruled by Mars. And Mars is like the planet of one's sex drive and one's sexual urge. You feel what I'm saying? So a lot of the times, like, Aries and Scorpio individuals are very like sexually charged. You know what I'm saying? And it's about learning how to constructively use that energy, for sure. Not that sexuality and things like that are a bad thing, because they're not. You feel me? But anyways, let's look more into this energy. So with you having your Venus ruling over your fifth house, what this indicates is that, like, you can extract tremendous amount of like enjoyment from sex. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's an enjoyable thing for everyone, but with this energy, Because, so getting into Venus is the planet that also deals with joy and pleasure and harmony and things like that. And so beyond just enjoying tremendous amounts of joy from one sexual like practice, it can even be an indication that sex may be one of those things that can help bring you more, that can like balance you out and help you harmonize, you feel me, and bring balance. And as far as creativity is concerned, Venus is the planet of art, you feel me? It's the planet of beauty, the planet of music and things like that. So if you have Venus in Libra, this can indicate that you are a very creative individual with tremendous amounts of creative abilities. Possibly that may even stem into like having musical abilities. Venus is very musically inclined like that. But for the most part, with the fifth house being Libra, where one's dating life is concerned also, it's very much dominated by that Libra energy, the energy of ultimately wanting companionship. And it's interesting because Aries is a very individual sign, but then again Scorpio comes after Libra, and Scorpio is a sign that deals with deep emotional connections with others. But yeah, for the most part, I'll leave it at that. Like, you're very much a type of person who, if you sleep with someone, you probably would want to see them again or maintain some sort of friendship or dynamic. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Now, also because Libra is a sign that deals with the public world, it can be an indication that where your creativity is concerned, it may deal with people. Like, you may have an ability maybe to manage other people's creativity, like like a music manager or something like that. Or I think you were talking about something with networking and music. And but yeah, anyways, I forgot details, but yeah, you feel me? That may be one of the other things as well, like connecting with very creative people and creating one-on-one relationships with creative people. Because Libra is like one-on-one relationships. The fifth house is the house of creativity. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, so that's like very much well done to summarize the fifth house. And to get more into the practical things, like the key word that defines Libra is equilibrium. It's all about equilibrium and balance. Now, Libra is also a sign that deals with, hold on, give me a sec. Libra is also a sign that deals with balance, right? Yeah, like its key phrase is balance, right? I balance, and ultimately its strength is, hold on, I gotta think about this. I forget. There's a word that's not coming to me, and it's not officiousness because that's Aries. They're very friendly, very kind, very likable. You feel what I'm saying? Like that's like the strength with like the Libra energy. So your creative abilities and like apply that information to your creative abilities. So there may be something that's very likable by others, very just likable by others. I'll leave it at that. But the negative attribute of the Libra energy is they're approbative. You feel what I'm saying? Meaning kind of spineless. Not so assertive like Aries, but more so afraid of confrontation and kind of a pushover. Like that's the weak end of the Libra energy. And now for the last house up for discussion, we are going to be discussing the sign Scorpio, which is within your sixth house. So your houses of wealth, right? The second, sixth, and 10th house. All these houses are within water signs, except for your 10th house, which is actually within the sign Aquarius, which is interesting as well, which makes sense too. So first and foremost, with you having that Scorpio energy within your sixth house, see, Scorpio is this not Scorpio. The sixth house. I already talked about what the sixth house is earlier, right? So I'll touch a little bit about it. It's like the house of health, illness, labor, employments, anything that deals with the generation of money, right? And now that is within the sign Scorpio. And it's interesting because you have both the sun, both Pluto and the moon in this house. You feel me? And why this is interesting, first and foremost, the sun, I keep saying sun, I mean to say moon. The moon and Pluto, these planets are higher octaves of each other. Like the moon is the lower octave and Pluto is the higher octave. You feel me? And both of these planets deal with spiritual activity. You feel me? They're very spiritual, very psychic, very connected to the spiritual plane. And I'll get more into that later when we're talking about the planets. Now, with you having your sixth house within the sign Scorpio, this kind of is an indication of engaging oneself within work that deals with the channeling of one's sexual energy. And this, like, in the most general perspective, and I don't mean any disrespect, you feel me? Because people take it the wrong way sometimes. Like, in the most general perspective, like Scorpio energy, like when we're dealing with work, it can deal with like the sex industry, for what I'm saying. But beyond that, like it can also deal with the music industry. You feel what I'm saying? Because see, to be a musician, you have to know how to like harness and channel your sexual energy. Because sexual energy is art, you feel what I'm saying? And sexual energy is creativity, you feel me? So the interesting thing about the Scorpio energy is it deals with scary, spooky things also. Like I had a client who had her sixth house in Scorpio and she made art, you feel me? But her art was like creepy, like just weird stuff. So on one end, you know, that's very much like this sixth house in Scorpio energy. But beyond that, the sixth house in Scorpio energy, it can very much deal with medicine, you feel what I'm saying? Especially with like surgery, because surgery is a practice that's ruled by Mars, right? Because knives, blood, pain, etc. But beyond medicine, like Scorpio can be very much a CEO type of energy. You feel me? Working in a field where it deals with managing people. Because Scorpio in of itself is a sign that deals with power and control. You feel what I'm saying? It deals with power and control. No, you have to wait. Anyways, as I was saying, someone, I don't know if you heard that, but maybe you didn't. Someone in the background asking something. Anyways, as I was saying though, with the Scorpio energy, right, ruling over power and control, this can put you on like a position of power, you feel me, where you have control over people. But simultaneously, because Scorpio is a feminine magnetic receptive sign, it can be an indication that within your field of work there may be certain hidden enemies. The Scorpio is the sign of, it's not the sign of hidden enemies. Pisces is the sign of hidden enemies. Scorpio is the sign of open enemies. Your work, you know, whatever it is, it's something that's has to deal with intensity. It's like a going all in type energy. You feel me? No half assing anything. Because Scorpio is very much the sign of intensity, right? And it's like whenever Scorpio does something, it puts all of its energy into it. And so Scorpio in a sense goes big. But the interesting thing about the Scorpio energy is Scorpio works behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? Scorpio works behind the scenes, and then once it comes up, it's big and it's huge. Like Drake, for example, is a Scorpio. You know what I'm saying? To give an example of like the Scorpio energy and work. And Drake, right? He's a musician, right? And he makes music, and yeah, he's like somewhat of a sex symbol. You know what I'm saying? Which is very Scorpionic. And ultimately, it's of very paramount importance to kind of just understand how to channel and direct sexual energy. Like within the book, Think and Grow Rich, right? There is a section in that book where they talk about desire, right? And they talk about sexual energy. So having access to information like that would be valuable for you. And like I said, after you get done with these sessions and you gain a clear understanding of your energy, then we're gonna get into learning more about exactly what like the fundamental building blocks of energy is, so then you can start to build like your own energy in the sense of like up till now you kind of were molded and formulated according to nature, kind of like the thing with us humans is we are the highest evolution within like the life forms within this planet. That's not a good thing or a bad thing, you feel me? But the reason we're the highest evolution is because of our ability to reason, our ability to think, our ability to alter things, to change things, to challenge and oppose our environment and our circumstance and our conditions. And even within human life, there are levels, right? And when you get to the higher level of humanity, and I don't mean like corruption, you feel me? Because there's many different levels of elitism. And I don't even like that word elitism. That's not what I'm trying to say. But it's like the highest level of humanity is those who have awoken to their spirituality, and those individuals can have an ability to alter their energy. You feel me? And yeah, we'll get into that later, on how to do that and the systems to apply to alter one's energy, which is of value and importance, But for now, though, ultimately with the Scorpio energy, it is of paramount importance to understand that another thing that Scorpio deals with, right, is it deals with mysticism. It deals very much with spirituality. It deals with certain trades of work that may be taboo, that may be mysterious to people, like that people may not know about. You feel me? And there may be certain things that may be associated with that practice that may make it seem like for example, studying herbalism, right? There is a handful of us who understand the power of herbs, but typically, within like the collective consciousness, this was more like a couple years ago, because now people are more waking up. A couple years ago, like those were the quacks, right? The people who are into herbal medicine and things like that, those were like the quacks, and that concept of herbal medicine was somewhat taboo. You know what I'm saying? That's what Scorpio very much deals with. It deals with taboo energies that are not publicly accepted. But furthermore, to get into Scorpio energy, Scorpio deals with public resources. So that may be another area of work you may find yourself working with public resources, other people, and this can even be other people's money, or whatever it may be. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, for the most part, with the sixth house being here, work that is very Scorpio-like is even like counselors, psychologists, social workers, people that may deal with like suicide, mental health, things that are very heavy and dark, people that may work in the field of death. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. I would say pretty much that concludes like that Scorpio energy. You feel me? I definitely very much enjoyed doing your reading. We kind of went above the hour, but I don't mind. It was my pleasure to do this for you. Yeah, so I very much look forward to what you thoughts and any feedbacks you may have. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to hop on that phone call with you and tap in from that perspective. But yeah, it's been wonderful doing this session for you. And yeah, I look forward to doing the next session. Where we'll be talking about the the next six houses, the 7th to the 12th house. You feel me? And that's where I'll touch a little bit more about the planets, because most of your planets are in the 11th house. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, peace, 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 my friend. I hope you have a beautiful, lovely night.